So I grew up in Hong Kong, and one day I went back there for a holiday after I moved to Australia, and the craziest thing happened because within the first week, I'll just tell you a story of one night. I go to the 7-Eleven, I'm on a night out, and usually hundreds of people are out here. And I come out and I'm so surprised because I see my best friend and I have this absolute hype moment. We have a great chat and we go on our first night out together. And we meet loads of people, we speak to loads of people. This is one of the only times I've ever had a chance to go out and speak to this guy so much. And I've known him since I was like 6 years old. And the next morning, we had planned to meet up at 9 a.m. and we saw each other out at like 11 p.m. the night before. We were like, hey, we ain't waking up at 9 a.m., bro. The next morning, we delayed it a little bit. We were like, okay, we meet at 11. We meet at 11. And we went to the sauna together. And I was sitting in there. I said, you know what? Yesterday was so much fun. I've had more fun than I've had in the last month, in the last 2 months, 3 months. And I said, what's the point of going through life if you don't get these social opportunities to go out and have fun with your friends every now and then? Because I had been grinding, putting everything into my goals. God forbid you're the kind of guy who isn't even putting loads of work into their goals and they don't have this amazing social life. Because you're missing out. Words can't describe the kind of joy you get from it. It's not comparable to like short-term pleasures like corn, video games. Like you can't even, it's not in the same realm. When you're out with all your boys having an amazing life with people you love, that feeling is unparamounted. Now I want to tell you this story, but before I get into it, I'm Finn. I help young guys get over social anxiety, make good friends, and I do have a course, link in the description if you think that I'm giving you good value. You can check it out if you're interested. But this one time, I was with my friend and I had basically just met him. I'd only hung out with him a few times. And I was like, yo, you know any girls? I was just like starting convo, right? He's like, yeah, you know what? This girl, she actually said like, yeah, we can go over to her place. She's got some friends there. Like we can go hang out with her. I was like, hell yeah, bro. I'm like a young teenager. I would be super keen to do that. And we end up going over to her place. I swear to God, I only responded to questions. I swear I just sat there. We were there for like an hour. I hardly said a word. And this is no exaggeration. Like I genuinely did not even start more than 1 or 2 conversations. I would be like, oh yeah, hey, how you guys going? What's your names? And then after that, I just sat in the corner, quiet. And my friend, he was doing all the talking. But you see, I want to tell you an interesting part about this story. I still was like a nice guy. In fact, they probably just thought I was like really shy and timid. I still got somewhat of a good impression. Probably boring, but like a bit timid. And in a few months' time, I started to hang out with this guy and he introduced me. So he'd introduced me to this girl. And in a few months' time, I swear to God, this girl had like a Halloween party. And because I'd met her before, I remember I sent her a message. I was like, yo, do you mind if I come to the party? She was like, yeah, no problem. Because we'd met before. Like, I was a friend of a friend. I showed like a decently good impression. And look, this story is not about the perfect way to go about it. This story is about how easily you could get away with it if you got a little bit lucky. I went out there and I tried. I met as many new people as possible, even though I was super anxious to do so. But every time I kept taking these lucky opportunities, it started getting easier and I started getting luckier. Now, bro, if you want my personal help building friend groups, like you can't find those lucky opportunities or you don't know where to start, meet somebody, don't worry, bro. The link in the description of a course that gives you an exact method that helps you get through your life and make way more good friends. And you know you want to be that guy who's well-spoken. And especially if you're struggling with that, I have the exact solution for that. So click the link in the description if you're interested. Now, the most interesting thing about this guy that I was friends with is how I saw time change everything. Because this was the first time I met this group of girls. I was like really shy. I couldn't speak that much. Like I genuinely shell-shocked, couldn't say a word. But in a year's time, I'd started to go out a bit more. And the interesting thing is people started to shit on my friend. They would be like, oh yeah, nah, no one likes that guy. I would be at all his parties and there would be like 5 girls talking shit about him. or I'll be like speaking to a group of girls. I would always be out at these parties. Now, look, you don't need to be a super special person to get away with this. This is the whole point that I'm making. I'm trying to show you it's possible. It's so possible to the point that the guy that introduced me to them ended up not even being liked. And you might view this in a bad way, like, oh, they were fake. They were, but that's a completely side point. The way that I would look at, like, the point I'm trying to make is, if some people are temporary being popular, then you can be temporary being unpopular. You can be temporary in being socially anxious. Because it's not fair if all these popular guys can lose their popularity, but if you're unpopular, you're stuck there. That's not how it works, bro. I changed from being the most awkward guy, couldn't really speak to anybody, to like speaking to everybody. Everyone knew me. I was invited out every single weekend. And he changed from, he used to be invited to a lot of things, and he slowly got invited to less and less. And it just flipped because luck, I kept trying, and I kept being a good person, and he had ended up like embarrassing himself a few times. He would strike out with all the girls, and like that's just my hypothesis on why it went bad for him in this scenario. Like, of course, this is not that deep. There's luck involved, but anybody can do this, mate. Now, I want to share with you this one mindset that really fucks you up. I was speaking to my friend. We were cooking. He's like a really good friend of mine. Now, I don't want to be disrespectful to him at all, but I remember a long time ago, he really, really struggled talking to new people. Like, he had basic social skills, but if he met somebody, he wouldn't be like warm, he wouldn't be outgoing. And he started to change. He started to be way more social. And I can easily tell the difference. Like, people love this guy because now he shows his personality. Before, he would kind of like dull it down around new people. And the thing about this guy is, before, when he was still scared to show his personality, the one mindset that he had was, he was pretty like judgy. He's still a little bit judgy, but way less. He used to say, oh yeah, that guy's weird. Oh, that guy does that, so that's weird. Like, he would just point out so many things and like have so much dislike in his mind. But the best way to go about it is to speak to every single person. You don't hang out with people you don't mess with, sure, no problem. But try and say hi to as many people as possible, start as many new conversations as possible. And you never know where it would lead you. Now, look, every now and then, when you're starting to build this social life, I have one tip for you when you've started to make a bit of progress. And it happened, I first realized that this was like such a good method when I was making fun of my friend in year 8, and all of the boys were calling him a nickname he hated. Every single day we'd see him, we'd rip into him, and he started getting mad, but we were just like, he's just mad. We were kind of being like a little bit of an asshole, But as time went on, one day he just cracked it. He came up to me personally, he said, bro, you know what, it really fucking frustrates me when you call me that nickname. It really hurts my feelings. Or he didn't say it like that, but he stood up for himself firmly. He said, bro, that's not okay. And I laughed a bit, and he goes, nah, it's not funny. And I was like, oh shit, really? Because in my mind, I thought I was being funny and he was just like whining on a little. But then he let me know seriously that it was actually like bothering him a bit. And we still did it a few more times, but he just kept standing up for himself until I stopped. And it only took like 3, 4, 5 times, and I was very young and immature. This works so much better if you're around mature people, but if your friend is disrespecting you, don't let it slide. Because if there's something that bothers you so much that you have to come and confront somebody about it, and you say it multiple times and they don't listen for a long time, then honestly, they're probably like a shit friend. This is one of the best pieces of advice I've ever had. Because most of the time when you're being disrespected, people don't even mean it. They didn't even realize it. They were just trying to be funny, like especially as a teenager. But if it bothers you and you don't speak about it, then why would you be mad at them for that they keep going? Don't let the anger build and your resentment for them build. Just confront them about something if it's really bothering you. Thank you for watching this video, bro. Have a good day.